All right, welcome to the uh, the day I'm going to share with you some amazing breakthrough mindset shifts and habit tips from James Clear's book Atomic Habits. Da-da-da. I'm so excited to read this book, and I'm doing a book club on this book, and I'll share that later for those of you who are interested. But I've literally only read like 20, 25-ish pages because I'm holding out until the book club gets going. And I have so many tabs in here. Like I had to start underlining, and I don't always underline books because I don't know if I'm going to keep them or not, but this is such a keeper. So I'm going to share in the first 25 pages or so, some of the main concepts and killer quotes and some tips that are going to blow your mind and motivate you to actually read the book. This book, just the background for me, like this book, I heard about this book from a client who was in my money program in 2019, in fall 2019. And I listened to podcasts with him, and I was really impressed and really motivated and inspired, but I just never read the book. So finally, I'm reading the book, and I'm so excited to share it. And this is one of those things that, one of the reasons I'm doing the book club is so I'll finish reading the book too. So it's a win-win, which is what I like to do anyway. So, okay. All right. So to start, throughout this whole time, I want you to think about one area of your life. Like somebody in the chat or somebody at the beginning of this talked about like your habit of being late or being on time. So think about one habit one area of your life that you're interested in evolving, so consider that and think about that, think about like, what is the one thing? So it can be anything from your business, like, so it can be a marketing system or sales system or your financial system. It could be something personal, because these are lifelong skills you can transfer for your whole life. These are, let's see, where is it? I had a little quote here. So as long as human behavior is involved, this book will be your guide. So this is not about like goal setting and getting things done and doing a one-off thing. This is like going to shift the way you look at how humans work and how your mind works and how your actions work and what progress is. And this is one of the best things to me about this book is that, so many times our culture is like, set a goal, and like goals are, there's a lot of cons to goals, which I'm going to share. He nails this stuff. Like he talks about the problem with goals in ways that I love. So okay, so choose one thing, and if you want to put it in the chat, you're welcome to. I would love to see where y'all are coming from, so feel free to put that in the chat, and I'm just going to keep diving in here. So I want to give you the overview. So he defines atomic really beautifully in habit at the beginning of the book here. So he defines atomic and habit. He says atomic, an extremely small amount of a thing, the single irreducible unit of a larger system. And it's also the source of immense energy or power. Boom. And then habit is a routine or practice performed regularly, an automatic response to a specific situation. So, okay, great. So a couple of the options people are putting in are exercise and then money tracking. Awesome. Those are big ones. Okay, similar, somebody else, stretch or exercise daily. Great. I love it. Okay, beautiful. Okay, keep those coming. Feel free to chime in here. Okay, so I want to share his story, just briefly, and you can read the details when you read the book, but basically he was hit in the face with a baseball bat in high school and he almost died. And I won't go into all the details, and he doesn't go into that much, but he shares his experience. Like there's pages of him, like he thought he was going to die, his parents thought he was going to die, he was a teenager, so he had to come back from that over years. So that took patience and gradual progression and progress, like atomic movements, so that he could actually make progress and keep going. Yeah. So that's where he's coming from. So his experience is so rooted in his own experience. And then he went on to be a world leader, seriously, one of the top world leaders in habit formation. You know, like he's taught like so many people and founded organizations. And he started out just writing a blog that kind of blew up within a year. Not kind of, it definitely blew up within a year. So in a couple of years after starting a blog, he had a book deal, major book deal, obviously. So his story is really inspirational because he learned all this the hard way, and he's learned how to help people, you know, from his experience. Okay, a couple more things people are putting in. Keep on focus with tasks instead of getting lost with one thing after another. Okay, marketing, so strengthening marketing and reducing overthinking and critical thinking. Beautiful. I love these. Okay, great. Okay, so thank you for sharing. Okay, so, all right, so that was his story. Okay, so then there's this brilliant story that made me speak out loud when I was sitting in my bed reading to myself. And it's a story of the British cycling team that basically they had, so in 110 years, 110 years, right? No British cyclist had ever won the Tour de France. And they had won one gold medal in the Olympic Games since 1908. And so basically they were not known at all for their cycling, and they were, you know, they weren't known for that at all, and they were mediocre basically. Okay, so then they hired this new person, Brailsford was his name, to put the team on the new trajectory. So this guy referred to his strategy as the aggregation of marginal gains. The aggregation of marginal gains. So the philosophy, it's a philosophy of searching for tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. So just these tiny little things, right? So the whole principle came from the idea that if you broke down everything you can think of that goes into riding a bike, then improve it by 1%, you'll get a significant increase when you put them all together. So this is so cool. So he took this and he made these small adjustments. He redesigned the bike seats to make them more comfortable. Amen to that one. They put rubbing alcohol on the tires for better grip. They asked riders to wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal body temperature. They tested fabrics and used the best fabrics. And then they kept going. They did all these random things. They tested different massage gels to see which one led to the fastest recovery. They hired a surgeon to teach them the best way to wash their hands to stay healthy. They determined the best mattress and pillow to help them sleep optimally. I want to be on this team. And they painted the inside. This was like over the top. They painted the inside of the team truck white, which helped them spot little bits of dust that would normally slip by unnoticed that could degrade the performance of finely tuned bikes. I mean, talk about incremental, tiny little things that add up, right? I love this example. So these and hundreds of other improvements accumulated, and the results came faster than anyone imagined. I just got chills. So just 5 years after he took over, so remember like 100 and something year record of like crap, basically. 5 years later, the British cycling team dominated the road and the track cycling events at the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing. They won an astounding 60% of the World Olympic Game medals in that 1 year. Like, talk about a shift, right? Okay, 4 years later, when the Olympics came to London, they raised the bar and set 9 Olympic records and 7 world records. Like, oh my God. Like, this wasn't like they set new goals and they did all this training. This was like, just like so many incremental things over time, you know, and research, honestly, too. It wasn't just, you know, it wasn't just like things they pulled out of left field. It was like things that they knew would possibly make an impact, you know? So I could go on with the stats here, but it got better from there. Like, it would just kept going and going, right? So, okay. So this leads me to one of the main things he's talking about, which is 1% difference, right? Okay. So basically, here's a chart. You can get 1% better every day. Okay. So this 1%, so you can get 1% worse every day, or you can get 1% better every day. And basically, we can go down with our habits or we can go up. There's a trajectory there. So it doesn't mean we have to get somewhere else quickly. It just means like small incremental change. So it's like progress, basically, is all we're looking at, and progress over time, not always progress every day or a lot of progress every day. So he says habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Oh my God, I love this. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement, because that like totally meshes my coaching, like personal growth with money stuff. So I love that. Okay. So the same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. Okay. So he also talks about, okay, I've heard this like as a metaphor from going from North America, west, but he talks about like the actual math here. If you're flying from Los Angeles to New York City and you change your trajectory by 3.5 degrees, 3.5 degrees is nothing, right? You'll land in Washington instead of New York. So over time, those little percentages, can put you in a different place, literally. So it doesn't have to be this big radical thing, Yes, I love this. Okay, so, okay. All right, so what's next? Okay, so there's 2 or 3 more other things I want to share. Okay, so this his perception of progress and really moving, changing your idea of progress in your head. So you imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in front of you, and the room is cold. You can see your breath. It's currently 25 degrees. So ever so slowly, the room begins to heat up, and you're looking at this ice cube on a table in front of you, okay? 26 degrees, 27 degrees, 28, the ice cube still sitting there, ice cube is still sitting there, plain and simple. 29, 30, nothing has happened. So all these 1 degree shifts, nothing has happened yet, right? You feel that impatience? But we know that 32 degrees, then there's a shift. The 1 degree shift, seemingly no different from the temperature increases before it, has unlocked a huge change. And I've seen this in marketing, I've seen it in sales, and I've seen it with money relationships too, with people, where there's just this point. And actually, okay, I have a master's degree in second language acquisition, or ESL education. And there's a concept in a language acquisition, where I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically where people are learning a language. This is for children and for adults. For adults learning a second or third or whatever language. They get a lot of input. They're hearing it, right? And then one day they can speak way more than you'd expect them to. That's not always the case, but I've seen that before, where a student is quiet, and then all of a sudden they have this whole thing that just starts coming out because they've had enough input to shift, and they have enough confidence to like really put themselves out there. So that's another example I just thought of. So I love that. Okay, so, all right. So this is a chart about progress. So he talks about the plateau of latent potential. We often expect progress to be linear. At the very least, we hope it will come quickly. In reality, the results of our efforts are often delayed. It's not until months or years later that we realize the true value of the previous work we have done. This can result in a value of disappointment, where people feel discouraged after putting in weeks or months of hard work without experiencing any results. However, this work was not wasted. It was simply being stored. It is not until much later that the value of previous effort is revealed. Okay, so here's the visual of this. Yeah, I love this. And this is so true in business. In business, there's about 5, 6 phases of business. And the way I look at it is that there's like, okay, you have a seed as your vision. And at this level 1 of your vision of your business, you're putting in a lot of energy. You're putting in like 10 units of energy, but you're not getting any back yet. So you have a seed there and you're nourishing it, you're fertilizing it, you're making sure it gets what it needs, water, and you're putting energy onto it and you're giving it what it needs, but you don't see any results yet, right? Or any harvest. And then next level, you see a sprout. And in that sprout, it's like you're still putting in 10 units of energy and you're getting just 1 back because you see it, there's some movement. And then the next level, you're putting in 10 units of energy and you're getting 10 back. Or I guess it's 1 for 1. So 1-to-1 ratio, basically. And then eventually in business, when you get to a certain level, you're putting in 1 unit of energy and you're getting 10 back if you're using tools like leverage and things like that. So, but it takes way longer than you think, unless you have a ton of money to do tons of marketing, and experts to help you do that. So it always takes more than people think it will. And for me too, it just takes time, and it takes consistency really is the key. So I love this. Okay. So then the next 2 pages I have underlined. Yeah. Same with real estate investing. Yeah, exactly. Yes. It takes time. Plus you have a learning curve too, right? Especially at the beginning. Yeah. Same with business in a way. All right. Okay. So this is another radical mindset thing that he's sharing. It's also practical. So he says, forget about goals, focus on systems instead. And I mentioned this earlier, the goal concept, right? So focusing on goals, and so don't focus on goals, focus on systems instead. He says, goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. And yes. Okay, there's another quote where is that other one? There's another one I want to share. That's basically, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And he says, if you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system. This is so huge. Okay, so he said the thing about goals is that there's 4 problems with goals, okay? So the first one is that winners and losers have the same goals. So nobody ever talks about the people who didn't accomplish the goal, right? So we concentrate on people who end up winning, and we mistakenly assume the ambitious goals led to their success, while overlooking all the people who had the same objective but did not succeed. So, every Olympian wants to win a gold medal. Every candidate wants to get the job. And if successful and unsuccessful people share the same goals, then the goal cannot be what differentiates the winners from the losers. It wasn't the goal of winning the Tour de France that propelled the British cyclist to the top spot, right? They had wanted it every year before that, just like every other team. The goal had always been there and the desire had always been there. It was only when they implemented a system of continuous small improvements that they achieved a different outcome. Boom. Like, this stuff is so simple, but it's so like, mind-blowing. Okay. The second problem with goals is that achieving a goal is only a momentary change. Okay. Achieving a goal only changes your life for the moment. And that's the counterintuitive thing about improvement. We think we need to change our results, but the results are not the problem. What we really need to change is the systems that cause those results. When you solve problems at the results level, like the actual goal itself, then it's temporary. In order to improve for good, you need to solve problems at the systems level. Fix the inputs and the outputs will fix themselves. Boom. Okay, number 3, goals. Okay, ready for this one? Goals restrict your happiness. It's like I used to call it the happily ever after syndrome. Like when I get to, once I reach to this, then I'll be happy. And he has a couple of examples here. You know, he promised himself once he gained 20 pounds of muscle, he would relax. And he promised himself that after his business was featured in New York Times, he'd relax. You know, but it doesn't really work that way, you know? So the antidote to this is, okay, the goals also create an either or conflict. That either you achieve your goal and you're successful, or you fail and you're disappointed. So it's a narrow box of happiness options, right? Okay, so when you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. You can be satisfied anytime your system is running. And a system can be successful in many different forms, not just the one you first envisioned. So it can evolve. You know, it doesn't have to be like mundane, you know, whatever, it can evolve too. Does anybody else feel resistance to this? Because a part of me is like, wait a second, like, but but how do I get the thing, you know? Like, I think our culture has that programming of like, when I blah blah blah, and that reward idea. So I have resistance to it. Part of me does, for sure, you know. And my corporate name is Happily Ever Now Incorporated, because this is a constant lesson for me that I'm always learning. I want to remind myself. So okay, and number 4, the problem with goals is goals are at odds with long-term progress. Goals are at odds with long-term progress. So a goal-oriented mindset can create a yo-yo effect. And I think of that term with dieting, especially. So he gives an example of like many runners work hard for months, but as soon as they cross the finish line, they stop training. The race is no longer there to motivate them, right? So that's a huge one. So the purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. True long-term thinking is goalless thinking. It's not about any single accomplishment. It's about the cycle of endless refinement and continuous improvement. Ultimately, it's your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. Okay. And this last thing I'm just going to share from the book specifically, and we can talk more, is that habits are like the atoms of our lives. Each one is fundamental until each one is a fundamental unit that contributes to your overall improvement. At first, these tiny routines seem insignificant, but soon they build on each other and fuel bigger wins that multiply to a degree that far outweighs the cost of their initial investment. They're both small and mighty. So, all right, so compound growth is what we're talking about here. So the book is full of really great images and illustrations. Another one of my favorites is a breakdown of his, I thought I had it marked. Give me one second. Here we go. So he has 4 laws. The first law is a cue, how to create a good habit, make it obvious. The second law is a craving, make it attractive. And the third law is response, so make it easy. And then the fourth one is reward, make it satisfying. And then he has an inversion to these laws about breaking the habit. So making it invisible, making it unattractive, making it difficult, and making it unsatisfying. So these are the 4 laws of behavior change. And this is mind-blowing. It's like, you know, I feel like this is like the human operating system for behavior, that in a book, that operating system that you actually want to read, you know, like the instruction manual you want to read, because these stories are really rich too. So yeah, so share with me what is happening in your minds right now. Like what stood out the most? You know, what is one thing you can do, tiny little thing you can do that would be a shift for you? And I'll share a couple of examples that have helped me evolve my habits over the years. I heard like 20 something years ago, I read a magazine article about habits, and this person was sharing that their goal was to run 5 miles a day, but their commitment was to put their sneakers on every day at 8 a.m. So every day, 8 a.m., put their sneakers on no matter what. They could walk around the house, walk around the neighborhood, jog a mile, jog 5 miles, take them back off, go to the gym, whatever, right? But the only thing they had to do was put their sneakers on. And a couple of years ago, it was like fall 2019, I worked with a trainer virtually because I wanted to get better habits of exercise. And so what I did, and I had some health stuff going on, so I didn't always have energy. So it was like, okay, I committed to just doing 5 minutes of movement a day. 5 minutes. It could be, and I had like a bunch of different options. So because I'm not really like I'm a Sagittarius moon. I'm not really like let's do the same thing every day kind of, even though I'm a Taurus. Like I'm very earthy, but I like some fire too. So I like adventure and fun. So I had to have options. So I can hula hoop, I can dance, I can play on my yoga ball, dance around that, and roll on it, whatever. I could stretch on the floor. I could walk. I could, yeah. So those are my options, really, probably. So, and I just committed to that simple thing, and then it built on itself. And then I started doing qigong every day for like 20 to 50 minutes a day. And I did that for almost a year. And then, and even when so it's something I committed to that I didn't have to, it wasn't like I had to go to the gym or something. It was still a simple, small goal. Go to my, and it was in my house, it was during COVID actually is when I did it. It kept me sane actually, sane-ish. So that was huge, so this habit has evolved, so now I have a morning routine that at least 5 days a week has some kind of movement in it, it's huge. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Great. Okay, so one person shares that negotiating with yourself to do the smallest incremental thing regarding money. So opening your apps for money management, Quicken and YNAB, you need a budget, or 3 poses of yoga. Great. Yeah, yoga is another one I do too sometimes. So 3 poses of yoga, and that can be like Shavasana, child's pose. Yeah. So yeah, I love it. Okay. All right, great. And so then I would just declare like how often, like one of those things a day, or Quicken once a week, or like I would just clarify that and write it down somewhere you can see it, or even in your phone as a reminder. Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. And so Alicia's asking, what would your system look like? For what? What is your thing you're thinking about? What area? Yeah, and I think like, this class isn't like change your habits. This is like, read the book, basically. This is like an inspiration, motivation to read this book, and some connection for me to share the inspiration that I have, and an invitation to invite you to my book club. And I'm going to give you a little gift about that in a second. So, this is, yeah. So I'm curious myself, like what other systems am I creating? And I just hired a social media manager because my social media is challenged because I don't have as much accountability and structure as I need. So working with other people always puts me into a different level of a playing field with my business. So I have a virtual assistant who I have projects going on and accountability and support there, and the same with my social media person. Yeah, so kicking the pants is always good, or support, same thing in some ways. All right, exercise. Okay. All right, so exercise when you're being pulled in so many directions with interruptions. Yeah, that's tricky with your situation. I know what's going on for you. So if there's a time you could do it with late at night or early in the morning when nobody else is awake in your house. She was smiling. I'm not sure what that means. Even at night, Yeah, it's just literally scratching your head. Well, if you read the book, maybe you'll have some insights around what that could look like, thinking outside the box and innovation, or maybe you're marching through the house as you're doing stuff for other people and helping support people. high steps. Okay, a system for reading books. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm doing the book club. Welcome. Yeah, because I have so many books I want to read. And when I was like trying to decide which books to offer the book club for, oh my God, it's so hard to decide. I have like 15 I want to do, or maybe 16 or 18. And this was the first one, no question. I was like, okay, this is what I need. And this is what, and it's the new year and everybody needs it, especially like after the last 2 years with COVID and stuff, like having like, oh, I'm glad, Alicia, you're inspired to read the book. Awesome. Having these 2 years where our worlds have really been upended and everything has changed, and to see what kind of habits, good, bad, ugly, and different, that we've created and evolved into, it's, you know, it's interesting. I have some good, some not so good, you know, and it's like, okay, well, what does that look like, you know? And like incremental changes. One of my challenging ones is staying up late, watching TV, and eating snacks. They're paleo snacks, but they're still snacks. And so if I find other things to do in the evening, like, you know, like I'm not going to socialize during these times, like every night, but like I do that two different nights a week. So creating different things to distract me. And cause like, it's boring. Like, what else am I going to do? There's nowhere to go, nothing to do, you know, and I live alone. I can talk on the phone, like I can do other things, but like, so now my TV has gone down from like 5 hours some nights to like 2-ish. So it's progress, you know, and I'm eating dinner later so that I'm not snacking as much. So it's like, you know, it's like these little things evolve things, you know. And okay, I found setting aside time setting a set time aside for exercise made a huge difference. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So setting aside a time to exercise. Yeah. Yeah. And I think with Alicia's situation, she has taken care of a parent and a kid. And it's different when you have people like, you know, who need you when you're trying to do whatever. Right, Alicia? Is that? Yeah. 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 I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. So yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So Marshall is sharing that excited for the book because I'm a systems person, Mercury and Virgo in third house. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like you have some Virgo in a place that's really relevant to organization systems. And I'm really good with routines. Okay, great. Yeah, right. Okay. You don't want to be done with the goals. They don't work. Great. Okay, good. I'm glad you resonate with that. I'm glad you're in the book club already. Awesome. Okay. So let me share some ways to keep connecting with this. So I'm going to send you an email with the book club. It's jenallycoaching.com/book. Yeah, I think it's just book. And it's on my trainings page of my website too. So the book club is there. It breaks it down. Basically, it's 2 more meetings. So you'll have this recording and get inspired from it if you want to. And then you'll have a meeting in 3 weeks. And you're supposed to read half the book then. So it's like the introduction and the first law. And then the second meeting is March 15th. They're both at 4 p.m. Eastern time on a Tuesday. And that one is the 15th of March. So in 3 weeks, you read half, and then another 3 weeks, you need to read another half. The book is like 300 something pages, but 80 pages of that is notes. So it's only like 260-ish pages. So, and it's really an easy read because it's well organized. And there's a great balance of left and right brain where there's stories and application. So I love that. I know it's really huge. And that's one of the main things I learned in teaching was to do that. So he does a good job of that. And I would love to have any of those of you who want to join the book club. So you can also get the book club for free if you sign up for my money program, which starts next week on the 10th. The money program is a 6-week program. It's a money mastery intensive program. I've taught it for a few years now. People have amazing shifts internally and externally with their relationship and habits around money. It's a great combo to do these because you can tie your business and money habits into what you're learning with Atomic Habits. And it's a great community. And I won't give you all the details of that now, but you can, I'll send you a link for that as well. And I'm going to give you one coupon to use for 25% off of either of these. So you can take 25% off of the money program, which is $497, and 25% off of that. And you get the book club for free and a couple of other bonuses. And then and this is the last time I'm going to teach that live, by the way. I'm going to starting to do ongoing programs, and I'm going to start creating them as products. So I won't be doing them the same way where they're all live classes anymore. And then the book club is $47, and with the 2 meetings and a Facebook group. And if you want to do that, you can also get 25% off that. So you can use the coupon, which I'll send you in the email, for one of those options, 25% off. And I would love to have any of you in any of them. Some people are already signed up. And do you have any questions? And if you want to share what format you're going to read the book, if you're going to read it, if you're going to listen to it, if you're going to listen, you know, if it's digital or paper, I'm just curious. I'm a paper girl. I've tried to read digital books, but I never do. I download them and then I never, read them. And I haven't done audio in years either, really. I love holding it and underlining it and putting little tabs on it. So especially when it's educational and I can refer back to it. So, so tell me okay, so audio and paper. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I like doing that sometimes too. Okay, and Marshall's doing digital read, and you used an app where you got it for free, right? What was it? Scribed? Yeah, yeah. Oh, but you can write on the digital one. Oh, I like it. Okay, cool. All right. How you're going to read it. Okay, let's talk about that, Amy. Oh, Scribed. Okay, so scribd.com. And you can get it down there. You can get it on there if you get your first one free or something, I think, you know. You can also check it out at the library on Libby. Libby is an app that the libraries mostly connect to. It's Libby. It's amazing. You can check out library books on there from a lot of different places. So that's pretty cool. Okay. All right. So a plan to read the book. Yeah. So when do you like to read? What time of day?
Is it okay to unmute?
Oh yeah, please.
Okay. Well, I used to read at night lying in bed before I turned the light off. And now I have a partner who's in the bed and needs me to turn off the light. And so I just I don't have a new system.
Okay, great. So can I brainstorm with you?
Please.
So I have this little light that like clips on to my books that kind of has a wiry thing that comes down.
Yeah.
So it's like a very focused light. That's an option. A sleep mask for John.
That, yeah, he has that, and that does help.
Okay, good. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
So those two things, the first things that come to mind. I also, this chair I'm in right now is a recliner. And so I mostly read before bed, but sometimes if I pull this chair out and recline it, and it's a nice day, I get to sit by the window in the winter anyway. In the summer and stuff, I'll sit on my deck or in the hammock or whatever, you know, and read, or outside on the ground. But like in the winter, I just get near like a cat, as close to the light as I can, the sun, and read, you know. But I have to be cozy, you know. Oh, and I had this amazing thing. I wish I could show it to you. I had this really cool thing. It's like I got it at Bed Bath & Beyond. It's like this flat foam thing. It's like this thick, and it has a lip on the bottom, and it opens up. So it's like this, and then it opens up, and I can put my books on it to read in bed without breaking my neck. It's like the best $25 I've ever spent, or 20, whatever, you know. And I can put my laptop on it if I flip it around, you know. So it's like, it's a super handy, more ergonomic thing that helps me read longer without hurting my body, you know. Because I have hurt my body before while reading. When I read The Help the first time, I couldn't stop reading and I hurt my neck so many years ago. Yeah.
If you could, if you have a link for that, I'd love to see it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll text it to you.
Great.
Yeah. Cool. If I can find it. All right. So, okay. So Alicia says all three sounds appealing, but probably the paper. Yeah. Yeah, and maybe Libby. Yeah, check out Libby. My mom is like, she reads like tons of stuff that I don't read, like tons of different kinds of fiction. And she is a Libby addict. Like she's like, it changed her life when I told her about that. She just lives in an iPad reading. So, all right. Any other questions about the book club or the money program or anything? I'm going to send you all the details so you'll have all that. And oh, another thing is that this recording will be available, and then the coupons are available until Sunday night. So if you want to rewatch this, watch it by Sunday night. If you want to sign up for one of the things with the coupon, sign up by by Sunday night. So it'll be expired by Monday. So
Do you think if like it'll be way easier for me to do the audio version?
yeah,
But I heard you say, and you showed us a lot of the little charts and graphs. So that's why I was saying maybe both.
that's
What do you think of
interesting.
that?
Well, what you could do is get it from the library or Libby or Scribed or something digitally, and, you know, and have the visual so that you can always look at it later, you know. And you could, I bet you could even look online to see if you can find the illustrations from his book somehow.
Mhm.
His
Well, I'm not.
website is very thorough as well.
While we were here, I pulled it up on Amazon, and the cheapest version is the hardcover for $12,
Oh yeah.
and that's not going to break me. So
No, I mean, it's retail for, you know, 27, but they're selling like hotcakes. So it's like, I think I've seen it like 12 and 11 for a while now. So, and you
yeah.
can also use other websites. They're comparable. There's a thriftbooks.com, which is socially justice oriented. There's I think it's World Books or something. That's also pretty groovy if you don't want to support Amazon, you know. So yeah, if you order from Malaprops, our local bookstore, it's like $25 or something, you know, which is
Okay.
a bummer, but
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, if you have any more questions, feel free to email me. Thank you all for being here. And I'm so excited to see what happens as you dive into this. Keep me up to date and any huge epiphanies or shifts. I'd love to hear about it. And let me know if you have any questions. All right. Thank you
Thank
all.
you,
All right.
Jen.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.